I'm going to inject poison into my own creation. I'm gonna kill it.
What's up, fellas? Got BZ joining us again today. Mario, how's it going?
Audio's working.
Audio is on. BZ, and do your spot for the intro for your podcast. Let's get the plug.
Yeah, I mean, we could just, right now I'm kind of just doing more writing, if anything, so if anybody wants to check my stuff out on PW Torch, feel free, at Brian Zillum, first and last name on Twitter. I cover weekly SmackDown for PW Torch, and obviously we'll sneak in the editorial here and there, but yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. You're the one that came to mind. I was like, once the Vince stuff, because Mario, I don't know if you knew. So BZ predicted this was going to happen. This was going to happen. And then I went back and I saw it on his Twitter. He's like, what will happen if WWE sells to Saudi Arabia? And then he sent out that it could be happening. Now, right now, it's still a 50-50. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brian. Like, it's some people are rebuffing it, but not everybody's officially.
No one has confirmed it?
Nobody's confirmed or officially denied either, right?
Right, so... Okay, how can I phrase this? So, I started getting kind of like me. I'm just random contributor. I'm not like a top tier, like Mount Rushmore, core 4, core 5 like person in the biz getting stuff. But I started kind of gradually hearing some stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, like this is pretty huge if I'm hearing and seeing stuff. But it kind of started off with. Brian Alvarez tweeted something like, now it wasn't obviously reporting, but he sent out a tweet basically indicating, hey, it sounds like something big's about to happen. And if you go with the news last night with Stephanie, right? So Stephanie officially resigned. She's gone. So she's like for real gone. So everybody just assumed it was going to be Triple H going next. And then there was obviously scuttlebutt potentially that WWE got purchased, not only got sold to Saudi Arabia, but they were taking the company public, which is like, Jesus Christ, because the folks that I was hearing from, they was like, it's worse than you can think. I was like, dude, they're being bought by Saudi. Like, what could be worse than that? And oh shit, yes, getting turned public, that's obviously much, much worse. And now we're kind of in this weird holding pattern. Obviously, there were some people like officially saying it was done. Obviously, there was like that kind of business paperwork, or obviously it's not gonna just be like, hey, I'm gonna return this item and get a refund. So it's gonna be more than a 24-hour process. But just the fact that Vince basically made all this happen in a 72-hour period, it's like anything can happen, I suppose, at this point, right? So it's just in the span of him coming back, Stephanie leaving, and then bringing back Wilson and Barrios for the board, and now potentially officially it's going to be a sale, allegedly. Right now, obviously, like Saudi's speculated, and then obviously Comcast and Comcast, and I think Disney's in there. I was just using my shoot common sense, Jeff, when I was texting you. I didn't have any knowledge at all. People ask me like, hey, did you talk to Wade? Because I was like, no, I don't talk to Wade like that. Like, Wade Keller's not going to talk to me, mention anything to me. So I was just actually using my shoot common sense, and based on the amount of liquid that Saudi has, they don't have to go through the loan form. To get a loan to buy WWE. They can buy it outright because they have billions and billions of liquid assets that they could just flip. They could essentially just give WWE a blank check.
Just pallets of money. Just pallets of money that they pushed over in a truck.
Exactly. Bags of money that they could just give to Vince for WWE. And the reports like proposed Saudi Friday, like these were like business articles that were coming out, and then Brandon Thurston has obviously done a tremendous job. He kind of like threw it out there, and it just really got me thinking / worried. I just with everything that's happened within like the last 4 days, nothing's out of the realm of possibility, and now we're kind of in this weird holding pattern where nothing's really been confirmed. WWE has said, "Oh well, nothing's happening," but that's who's to say? Like as we're recording this, after we're done, maybe something's official. But a lot of people, if you guys remember, before UFC was sold, they kind of did the same thing where they kind of just rebuffed. They were just like, "Oh no, we're not selling." And even like the top tier people didn't even know that there was a sale until there was the official PR like email went out for the sale.
Yeah, I don't even feel like the boys know in the locker room. I feel like this is definitely whoever's in it is going to be Vince and his two Pat Patterson, Gerald Briscoe stand-ins that he got back on the board, that he walked into the door with them, Chase Stephanie. And the other two board members were, if rumors are true, were anti-Vince board members that also got pushed out the door. And now I'm starting to wonder if this not blew up in their face, but this soft little feeler, and they saw beautiful memes, by the way, fantastic memes. I'm happy about the memes, but I'm very worried about the public perception is like most people are like, now I'm officially done. And I feel like this could be the moment that could happen.
I mean, go ahead.
Can I just a question is like, just explain this to me. Because I've heard theories and just parts of it, but if Vince McMahon sells WWE to Saudi Arabia, why does he do that? Why?
Oh, because he makes the stockholders happy. Like if he at the end of I think the numbers I think I've heard WWE could go for is anywhere from I think like $6 to $8 billion. That's $1 billion, and obviously if Saudi Arabia says, "Hey, we'll give you $11 billion," and he's making the stockholders happy, that's really all that matters. It doesn't really matter to whom they're selling it to, like as unethical as like that would be. That's all. Like if the stockholders are happy, that's who they're pleasing. That's all that really matters. So they wouldn't get like the SEC. I mean, I don't think they would have grounds to do anything because in reality, Vince is selling it to the highest bidder.
Oh wow! And that was my next question. I don't know if I should sell my stock or not. Like when, like, do you dump it now or do you like now? I'm like, so if you're out there, help me. Do I wait because you waited out? Because are they going to buy it as cheap as possible, or at this point Vince is just making it happen so fast, the price is just going to be the price and just get it over? Because I mean, like you said, it's been less than a week. Vince may come back. Vince is back. Stephanie's gone. 2 board members are gone, and then the rumors of a sale, like all within a week's period.
Yeah, like if you look at the landscape, just as like I know you guys always talk about television and entertainment on the show, but if you kind of look at the landscape of like content providers, another group I forgot, I guess you can include Amazon in there, but a lot of companies right now, they're hurting. They're not really looking to take on new business ventures. I mean, you look at the Discovery merger, and they're cutting costs.
No, as far as like the big streaming buying craze is over. Everybody's sort of like landed somewhere. They know where they stand. No one's dying to shell out a lot more money because now they've got to they've got to figure out how to add subscribers. So
for sure,
that's a huge. There's only a couple of potential buyers, and it's like Saudi Arabia, Disney, maybe Peacock. I mean, they got a lot of money.
Comcast would make the most sense because they're already housing the premium live events. They've got it WWE and Peacock. That makes the most sense. Disney is an interesting. That's an interesting choice, but I would say that would almost be the worst out of all the options because Disney's brought back their old CEO to kind of like be more conscious and self-aware on stuff, and you can't have Vince McMahon anywhere towards Disneyland or because if anything, WWE brought to
he wants to ride Space Mountain.
That's what
Ric Flair plugging Space Mountain writes itself.
That's what I'm saying. That would be the worst case scenario because if the Disney fans are rabid, man, like they're like if something That would be like very, very, very bad for them. That like they'd be like, what happened with this Jimmy Snuka guy? Like,
Oh my gosh, can you
it wouldn't be good. So I would say this is gonna sound like I would say out of all the companies, like from a business standpoint, Disney would actually be the worst choices. And then like with Amazon, right? So they spent like a freaking $1 billion on football, and I kind of feel like I wonder if they're kind of having buyer remorse because God, like all those games this year stunk.
Oh yeah, that was tough for them in the beginning, especially in the beginning. It was known for those games falling apart.
Yeah, so I just don't see what the appeal, like really the only appeal I could see is like, yeah, you get that massive library, and is that as sexy as it was 15 years ago? I don't think so.
No, because if you think about it, Peacock isn't even showing the entire library. The WWE network had way more. I don't feel like all their content is like they haven't even bothered to move all of it over.
Here's the thing you've got to take into account also is that WWE not only is it video content, it's merch stuff. It's merch content. Yep. It's toys, it's shirts, it's all that other stuff. And it's like somebody like Peacock might not know what to do with that. Disney could take something and turn it into a park, turn it into a wrestling experience where you get a shirt and a toy to take home.
I can tell you though, for that business model changing to the point where basically WWE did no longer had to be concerned with ratings, like you were saying, BZ, that could come back to haunt them. That they are no longer concerned with selling live tickets. They used to, Cornette would talk about this. We made money on selling tickets. And now that's less important because you're not doing live shows. Now it got to the point where ratings were starting to not matter because it's fine. We just need streaming content. When that wall hits, what's going to happen? And is that why Vince is ready to sell? Because he's sensing that wall is about to hit. And like, wait a minute, you don't have as many viewers as you do content or as much as you did in the past.
Yeah, and it's weird, guys, because I don't know how often you've seen like WWE kind of like the past month and a half. These crowds are dead.
Yeah,
they are dead. They are miserable. It's like watching a live Thunderdome show with like 7,000 people, and it's like depressing as hell.
Yeah, they
because
haven't recovered yet.
When I went to the AEW show, like whatever it was, like a
few weeks ago,
2 months ago, or whatever it was, they had about like 3,000 people, and I think I told people, I'm just like, look, give me 3,200 people that are gonna go banana for everything and make noise, rather than just getting double the people that just sit there on their hands because. My God, like why? Because I've seen more noise at a minor league baseball stadium. Like, let's get some noise. They're just sitting there, and I don't know if it's been kind of like a battle lately, kind of like the transition from the Vince to Triple H product, where Triple H will kind of throw on the 18-minute match, and the WWE crowd is, I don't know if they're not digging it, it's not vibing, and all these cold returns are not really in their bag either. So I think that's been kind of a thing. And I do give Triple H a little bit of a pass on Monday because let's be real, after the news on Friday, you could tell Friday on SmackDown. I don't know if you guys watched SmackDown on Friday. There was a cloud over that show. There was some still okay stuff on the show overall, but there was a vibe on that show where I was like, uh-oh. And then you could, like, Monday was kind of a mess. Like, you could tell. It's like, they're is it like 3 weeks away from one of their biggest shows?
Yeah.
And they haven't really pushed anything, which I'm just like, what? Like, I guess like in the long run, it doesn't matter because they've already, it's like idiot proof. They've sold it out. But like, you watch these shows and it's like, God, it's just super depressing. And like you were saying, Jeff, I mean, maybe Vince senses like, hey, maybe there's about to be a wall that hits. I mean, because even with AEW, they're not necessarily hitting, like, I think the last like month and a half they're kind of trending in the right direction, but they're not even hitting the numbers that they were about a year ago. So yeah, and then if you're talking about content, I think AEW was trying to shop Ring of Honor, but nobody wanted to buy it. Like,
oh, interesting.
So, I mean, I'm just looking outside because I think if there was a seller, if somebody really wanted to honestly buy Ring of Honor, I think Tony would have sold it.
Yeah.
Now, with the Discovery sale, kind of did that throw a monkey wrench in there? Potentially, because obviously Tony's got that good partnership with Warner Media Discovery, because obviously they brought him in and everything like that. So did that throw a monkey wrench in there? I don't know, but even now, with AEW's TV deal coming up for, I would say TV is important than ever right now. I don't even think I think it's very, very critical. And I know right now, it's never going to be wrestling is hitting 3-4 million, because I'm sure to a degree Fox is probably regretting buying SmackDown, because they opened that had that opener of 4 million, and they're on a good day they've got to freaking draw straws and get John Cena back to get 2 million folks on there.
No, you're right, man. I think TV is coming. It is coming full circle, and it is becoming more important. And ratings should matter, because in the end, what those ratings are reflecting is people are still want to gravitate to something that's real, that's not as contrived. The stuff that happens with Sami Zayn, there's something in there that is making it so real that people are gravitating towards him, which everybody in the Attitude Era had that. And that's a little bit what's missing. And everybody wants to go back in that direction. So I think that's why that news of a sale to Saudi, you're never going to get something even close to even Attitude Era light with a Saudi-run company, right? That's what I'm assuming. But everyone's saying, no, Vince will still run it. But eventually, right, that's going to leak over. It has to.
Yeah, I mean, I saw stuff coming out yesterday. Fightful was reporting that if the Saudi deal does come down, that people are going to walk. I saw even people saying if Vince comes back in a creative capacity at all, they're walking, which, I think we've kind of all heard that. I believe back in the day during the Montreal screw job, didn't people say they weren't coming back after that? I think British Bulldog, Owen, and
Mick Foley
Jim
did
Neidhart.
leave. He did leave, and he came back on Monday, but he did leave.
Right, but I can't see someone like Roman or Cody or Becky Lynch leaving. Now, the other thing that we completely forgot to mention about potentially Stephanie stepping down, Saudi Arabia is not going to buy a company with a woman CEO. That problem potentially for them is gone. So was that ultimately the reason Stephanie was stepping down? Maybe. That's the other big
rumor, right? If that does happen, she could not have kept that seat.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because she's basically trying to go back to because back in May last year, she was actually officially taking a leave of absence, but now she's just resigning, done. And then in that note, it was pretty clear that the two board members that stepped down were obviously against Vince coming back, and that's why he brought back Wilson and Barrios. Funny enough, those were the same people he fired, and now they're back with him because Vince is obviously trying to find somebody allies of sorts at this point, and now you've got Nick Khan, the lone CEO of the company, I believe, and then you've got Hunter, who's clearly a creative, and that's it. I've got no information. I presume Hunter probably steps down at some point.
You think he's going to step down? That's what
Jeff, I think so. Just because if you go back and look at some of those interviews he had last year, when he came back and he was a little happy, but then he was just he shared how stressful stuff was with his health conditions.
Yeah. And
obviously morale last year was just prior to Vince stepping down, of course, it was at an all-time low. It was really, really bad.
Yeah.
I feel like if it would be in Hunter and Stephanie's best interest is to go buy a freaking island somewhere, take those kids you got. If you wanted to try to do wrestling in some capacity, go to freaking build an indie promotion in Peru, Hawaii somewhere. And that was an interesting thing kind of floating around. everybody was thinking, oh well, if Hunter leaves, maybe he can, start his own promotion. Guys, it is so hard to get the financial backing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, to get on live national television, it is not that easy. Like, it was pure luck to a degree Tony was able to find those connections. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not happening. I mean, obviously, Freddie Prinze Jr. is out there trying to start his own promotion. Hunter's not going to be able to take the amount of money he has available and just get on, Discovery or, just a random channel. It's just, that's just not how it works.
The stars did line up for TK, and it was perfect, with the history with TNT and TBS and wrestling, and there was a little bit of nostalgia. And then, like you said, the all-time low morale, and then the offering of an alternative got people, everybody knew that WWE was on a little bit of a downslide, so that kind of emboldened some people to take a step in and like, yeah, okay, let's, we've done this before, we've beat them before. So, do you think there's a chance? Now, again, now we'll get into fantasy booking, but now this could be closer to reality more than ever. That I think TK would open up the book for Triple H if he really wanted to get a head booker job. I think AEW's got a spot for him.
Man,
to go against Vince. That would be to go against your father-in-law. This HBO show is going to be phenomenal.
Well, and this is better than Succession, right? I kind of feel like this is better than, like, I love the hell out of that show. Season 3, like, I don't think I've rewatched like a final scene of a show as many times as I have with season 3 of that freaking television show, like a masterpiece. But like, we're like living it live, and it's like better. Like, it is somehow better, which I would have never ever, like, you can't write this stuff. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously Triple H would have to kind of, if I can quote something like, to quote a Triple H'ism, he would have to eat some pot. He would have to eat a plate of shit. Like, I just think he, I don't know. I guess you can never say never, but
no.
I guess in a way, potentially, if he hypothetically wanted to come, I mean, I suppose, but then it would have to be like, okay, like what are you doing? Like, what are you in charge of? I mean, maybe like if they were looking for a head booker for Ring of Honor, sure, why not?
Yeah, and going against your family and going against the history. I mean, he's a student of the game. There's one thing that WWE has that no other company has and or will never have is this rich history of the past. Since the 70s and the 80s, they have been perceived as number one, in the public eye. Like, it became the public lexicon. You referred to anytime you referred to pro wrestling, it was WWE since the 80s. That's all people think of. You can't replace that history.
No, and then anytime, I'm sure when folks ask y'all about wrestling, they say, "Oh, what's is that WWF or WWE?"
Yeah.
If if this goes over, let's say, of course, if the sale goes through, Vince is like 77, 78 years old. Like, if he's kicking around for another 10 years, God forbid, if he, like, who's taking over? Who's running WWE? Kevin Dunn? Bruce Pritchard?
Oh, no.
Because like Stephanie and Hunter, they're not coming back to this. Like, no way.
No.
Like, there's absolutely no way that they would come back to this. And then the worst case scenario, you got the freaking Saudi Prince booking the show, and they kind of booked the Crown Jewel shows for the Saudi Prince anyway.
Yeah. That is the play.
Just kicking off the show. So we've got Moxley and Paige kicking off Dynamite, by the way.
Okay. Again, and that leans a little bit more into that I think Mercedes is not going to show up because this is an Eric Bischoff booking. I don't expect a limousine, and then we wait 2 hours, and then she shows up at the end. But I guess you never know. Just the never say never in pro wrestling. Let me ask you this, Brian, and Mario, chime in on this too. Do you think Shane McMahon sensed something a long time ago that he was an early adopter to jumping off the ship? But he came back, but he jumped ship way early, and he was going to be the fourth generation of McMahon booking wrestling, and then he gave that up. And then even when he came back, he never was the heir apparent, Stephanie. So where does he fit into all this, or is he totally washed his hands of it?
I thought he got fired.
Yeah.
Didn't he get fired or sent home?
Yeah,
for the bad booking on the Rumble, right?
Yeah, because I don't know what the hell was going on. Apparently, he was trying to book some stuff, and you got to remember, I think Shane McMahon might have been like one of the last 4 people in the Rumble.
He was one of the final 4.
Just like a freaking, that was just and I don't know if he was on his own power trip, but if I remember the reports right, that was like the one time where I think Vince was like, okay, like if Vince has got to take you out to pasture, then something's really, really wrong. So
yeah.
I mean, I would like to think like a while back he probably sensed something, because like didn't he try to do a couple things? Like he tried to get into MMA a little bit, right? It wasn't like necessarily UFC, but he tried to get in. I think he was doing some stuff in Japan, and obviously you still go. Whenever he came back, I mean, that was when he came back, whatever it was. Damn, like
the Raw Underground. Remember what? Didn't he try to have that worked shoot wrestling in basically warehouse fighting?
Yeah, that was definitely bad. I mean, there's a possibility he could have known back way, and that's why he got out. I just like, man, it's hard to work with family, let alone if you're, live on television every weekend, make you're freaking billionaire. So I could only imagine the therapy sessions every single one of those family members need.
Oh,
like,
man.
my God. So, and you've got Linda, like, not involved in there somewhat, like, it's just, it's a mess. So I don't think Shane's going to come back in any capacity. I mean, unless the Saudi prince wants him to come back, maybe wants him to jump off a Hell in a Cell one more time for a retirement match.
Wants him to show up and sing him happy birthday.
I hope not.
This has got to be the world's most expensive kid's birthday party.
For my birthday, you'll come and jump off of my palace.
There hasn't been many people that have said no to that payday to go to a Crown Jewel show.
Man, work is work.
They took it. There was a few, right? Didn't Brian said no?
Yeah,
there was a couple. Obviously, Sammy was. I don't think he was invited.
I thought Kevin said no as well. But I mean, obviously, those bags are going to come. That's why we had that horrible match where HBK came back, and it's
that was awful.
That was really, really bad. I mean, they yearn for yesteryear wrestlers, because Jeff, don't you remember the Prince wanted Yokozuna and Ultimate Warrior?
Oh yes.
Should have hooked him up with your buddy Ultimate Warrior 2000.
Oh yeah, for the Gold Gym Trainer. Yeah. Yeah, JJ brought a good point. Sammy couldn't even make it into the country legitimately anyway, so that would be rough. And that's. I think people would walk. I mean, I personally think there's a good amount of people now that there's the AEW alternative. He can't take them all, but Tony takes most of them. I think I could see a lot of people. This is good. Now we're at the closest point that we had to a legitimate wrestling union / strike. We had, like Brian, you mentioned the Montreal Screwjob. The other one was WrestleMania 3, where Jesse the Body, before he was a politician, wanted to become a politician and try to convince them to stage a walkout and hold the show up, and Hulk Hogan stooged him out. But those were the 2 times in professional wrestling that we had close to a walkout / strike. This would be the 3rd, and I think this one has the strongest chance of people actually walking out.
Yeah, and something we haven't even talked about or mentioned yet. What about the women's division?
Yeah. That's the women's division, which is, to me, arguably, other than like the Sammy stuff, the women's division seems to always be more interesting. Even when it's not, even when you got Ronda and everybody hating on Ronda and just not wanting to see her, but people are tuning in hoping that this is the moment they go away. And that worked. If that division is, people start walking on that, man, that's, now you're talking about front page of losing a whole division.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would have to get somebody like a Bianca or Becky to really do something. Obviously, Becky. I think Becky's done those shows. I can't remember. I know obviously Bianca has recently, but you would have to get somebody of that substance to like make no disrespect. If like Nikki Cross doesn't want to go or someone like that, I don't think that's really moving a needle, so to speak. It would have to be somebody pretty big. But I mean, my thing is if it hasn't been like somebody like Sammy or KO now, I don't know, man. I'm a little pessimistic that they would be, that they would make a lot of noise now, because in theory, I imagine everybody would get a huge salary increase, right? I mean, if we're thinking about it in a business perspective, like I'm sure everybody's going to get a ginormous pay bump, and then like similar like to what they're doing with Live Golf, right? They're going to just try to money whip everybody, and eventually. WWE is going to be the Saudi Arabia version of Control Your Narrative eventually, because you're going to have like, you might have Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and whoever come back and just be their main attractions, and the Saudi Prince might be completely okay with that. They're not going to be really booking for quality. No. They're just they want to see the stars.
Now I'm into it. Now I'm kind of sold now. I kind of do want to see that stuff.
Well, you've always been warned, when you give the mark a pencil, that's the kind of show you literally will get the toy chest booking, which is dangerous.
And bring the Jackass guys back too.
I loved it. Them in the mix. They did great. I mean, that WrestleMania last year was so good, and I was already looking forward to this year, and now I'm a little bit nervous. So the road to WrestleMania that kicks off with the Rumble, like BZ said, there's a little bit of a cloud there, especially with all the talent that came back after Vince left. What's going to happen to them?
On principle, like I haven't really been a fan of the Triple H with the pencil. I'll be honest, Jeff. I feel like he's brought way too many people back way too quick, because like he's doing what Tony was doing, and he's doing it weekly. And I think if I looked at, obviously there's the gif of the Infinity Gauntlet where Triple H has got all his people back. Last I counted, it was like pretty close to 30 people he's brought back. And it's like, and to be honest, Braun Strowman might be the most successful one out of all those people that he's brought back. But like, a lot of these people are just guys, no disrespect to him. I know obviously Jonah just came back from beating Okada, the freaking Tokyo Dome, and he's hanging out with the Miz. Like he just that's what he's doing. He's hanging out with the Miz now, and you've got folks like Karrion Kross. You got Hit Row, Johnny Gargano's hurt, who hasn't even really wrestled. Like they haven't been really using Gargano. He's hanging out with Dexter Lumis, which is really, really weird. I will say I liked what Triple H was trying to do with Damage Control. It was good on paper, but really bad execution of that entire group. Bayley being brought back as a heel, that was kind of I wouldn't have done that at all. But I don't know. I haven't really been impressed with Triple H with the pencil. I mean, obviously the Bloodline stuff is tremendous with Sammy. Like it's great. Like love every second of that. If that unfortunately ends with the sour note, that will be very, very unfortunate. I'd be really, really bummed if that happens. And then obviously I do have to give Hunter credit for featuring Gunther on TV. Like Gunther and Sheamus at Clash of the Castle. That was I feel like that's
that
was a great match. One of the better WWE matches I can recall in quite some time.
Yeah, especially with Sheamus, who already had that. He kind of lost a lot of his shine. People forgot how good he really is. But I can tell you, if Sammy decides to walk, he is a needle mover now, and him showing up on AEW is a game changer. It wouldn't have been the case before, but now that's 100% the case.
And I think that's like the biggest thing, Jeff. Like a lot of people don't remember that Bloodline kind of like it was kind of petering out. It was running on fumes for a while. It was just Roman beating people. Obviously, the addition of Solo, that was another one I do need to give Triple H credit for. Solo has actually been a well packaged, featured NXT person that they've called up. His addition's been great, but like prior to like the Sammy being the honorary use, that was kind of getting boring as hell. Like there was just really nothing to it. I mean, you had Roman beat Brock again at WrestleMania. It's like, who's gonna beat this guy at some point? And then obviously, even prior to like recently, there was even talks about maybe even running, like everybody just assumed it was gonna be Cody and Roman, but then people were saying, oh well, actually we're thinking about doing Cody and Seth again. It's like, what are we doing here? So I don't know if maybe there's been discussion on maybe putting the belts on Sammy. I think a lot of people just assume it was going to be Sammy and KO versus the Usos, which somebody needs to take the tag belts off the Usos at some point because
that writes itself.
Yeah, so that's a layup too. But Sammy, he, even with Vince there. He somehow he like Jedi mind tricked Vince to be able to do stuff. I don't understand how he's so good at just being a sports entertainer, but he's mastered it, and now he's been able to, free up his creativity a little bit more with Triple H, not really, restricting him, because even with the amount of stuff Sammy's gone over, he's still like nobody else could do what Sammy's doing. Like he had to go out there and get fought Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania. That it was it was fun, silly. Like I think I've seen better versions of that stuff, but I mean what a year a year makes. He went from that to potentially being one of the main event guys of like the entire company.
Oh, and I think we saw flashes of that when you had, he was starting to get into the conspiracy theory guy, but then when him and Brock had that one little mini spot, that was magic. And I think that's when we saw I think that's when the light bulb went off. He's like, when he got over with Brock, and you can tell he got over with Brock, and Brock enjoyed it, and they were going to stretch that out through the whole show. I think that was the beginnings of what we're seeing with him in Roman. Oh, we got our first spoiler, BZ. We got Hangman Page over Mox.
So I've been kind of like watching a little bit. So it looks like they were definitely. It's pretty much what you were expected. They pretty much beat the
crap out of each other.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Nice.
That's a big win. Mox doesn't usually take the clean L. So
good.
Good.
That's good. That's good. That'll good. So we'll end this spot, BZ. Let's and Mario too. We'll start with you. How does this Vince McMahon saga end? Like where do you speculate, like fantasy book, how this ends?
I mean, the fact that nothing is confirmed leaves it wide open. So I really can't predict whether or not this is a work. This is actually something that's going to happen, and how people are going to react afterwards. If it turns out to be true.
I feel like the sale is a shoot. Who that sale is going to be is probably still TBD, because now they could be scrambling on public perception and coming up with a shell company behind to kind of like public perception. But I think it's the sale is going to happen now. And I don't think Vince comes back to creative. I truly don't think he will. I think now he's just in it to, ironically, like he did in 2002, inject poison into his own creation, except it's not a worked NWO. It's just going to be, he's going to let whatever happens. And you just got to hope the right people are in charge to be the custodians of wrestling history. BZ, we'll end it on you. Where do you think this story goes?
I mean, I'll be the lame guy and say it's shooting to Saudi, and I feel like that report didn't, or the noise didn't just magically come out of thin air. Somebody was kind of trickling that, and maybe that was, I think Sean Ross Sapp said, maybe that was just everybody scared, and human nature, everybody was just echoing, like how scared we could be, like especially after Stephanie stepping down. But it does really make logically the most business sense, and selling to Saudi would be the most Vince way to tear his own baby creation down. Because
I think it is.
More than anything. So I will say at some point, I would presume not in the next week, but Saudi Arabia will buy WWE.
Who would have thought this vanilla generic wrestling announcer from the 80s? And here it is, 2023, and we're talking about how he's going to destroy his billion-dollar creation and make the most money from it. Cool. All right, BZ, thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it as always. It's always good to get your lucha perspective. And then give him a follow there at Brian Zillum on Twitter to keep all the scoops, man, and keep those memes coming.
The Seinfeld ones are just phenomenal. I'm on this Seinfeld. I found this group on Facebook. I think it's called like Seinfeld Wrestling. I think they because Big E, he's a big Seinfeld guy.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if they dedicated it to him or if that was like the origin of the site in general. But it's a wonderful site.
That's awesome. Yeah, keep them coming. All right, man, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. Thanks again, B. Talk to you soon.
Later.
All right, see you.
I bet you think my favorite bubbly is champagne. Well, surprise. What I really love is Sun Country Wine Cooler. It's a truly marvelous blend of real fruit juice and premium wine. As a matter of fact, it's the best tasting cooler I've ever had. So when they asked me to talk about Sun Country, naturally, I accepted. Sun Country. Say, gimme the real juice cooler. They told me I'd be working in fur, but this is ridiculous.
Wang announces the most important step in managing information since the computer. WangNet. WangNet is the electronic connection that gives anyone in your office any kind of information they need instantly by linking together every conceivable kind of office equipment, no matter who makes it. WangNet links you to floors below or satellites above, using just half its capacity, leaving room, of course, for Wang's next breakthrough in office automation.
I am here to make a pitch for Sun Country Peach. Why me? Because I'm crazy about the taste of peach. And Sun Country Wine Cooler is the most refreshing blend of premium wine and real peach juice I ever pitched. It has such a great taste. It's how you say it? Peachy, peachy. Sun Country. Say, give me the real juice cooler. I don't mind doing cuchi in a bear suit, but it's so itchy. Caramba, me está matando tantas hormigas dentro de los pantalones.
Let's buy our small computer from the giant computer company. You can't beat Goliath.
No. Right, David?
Sir, let's go with Wang. Nobody makes a better small computer or word processor. They're giant killers.
It happened before. It can happen again, because nobody's hungrier than Wang.
He's right.
I used to be frightened by all the wine coolers I saw. I was scared I wouldn't pick the right one. Luckily, I did. It was the most refreshing one of them all, Sun Country Wine Cooler. You see, Sun Country is a blend of premium white wine and real fruit juice. That's what gives it its great taste. Sun Country, say, give me the real juice cooler. If you don't say Sun Country, you'd better sleep with your lights on.
All over the world, Wang is the leader in office technology. Word processing, data processing, and now with our new electronic mail system, you can send all kinds of information from one part of the world to another. So New York can be around the corner from Paris, London from Tokyo, and San Francisco next to Rome. Wang, making the world more productive by bringing it closer together.
This is the tale of the Sun Country Kid. Rode into town on a horse he called Sid. But Sun Country wine coolers, for one and all, said, drinks are on me, go on, have a ball. Sun Country's made from juice that's all real and premium wine for refreshing appeal. One sip and you'll know my story is true, because when has this bear ever lied to you? Sun Country, say give me the real juice cooler. So ask for Sun Country. It's fun, never stuffy, and you can take that from a bear named Duffy.
Want a beer? Mm-hmm. You know, this is really an interesting six-pack. See how it's completely covered? See the ends? Covered. Mm-hmm. That's so light won't get in. Light can spoil beer. Uh-huh. And this is good beer, so they don't want light messing around with it.
Well, in that case, why don't we turn off the lights?
Where are you going? You get a Stroh's. That's about a 200-mile hike through heavy snow. I know. If you think of it, get two. From one beer lover to another's
I don't know what to do. What would you do if you were me? America's got this beer. It's called Stroh's Light, and it's fire brewed. You know, it's not like any other beer. So I call the State Department and say, let's make a trade. Our cigars for your Stroh's Light. They say, Fidel, you're going to have to forget about it.
It's not the same as other lights. It's fire-brewed Stroh's Light.
We're only 90 miles away. We can't even get a decent beer.
Why has Adam Cole been out so long?
I think he was hurt mentally. I think he lost his smile. All right, he's back. Talking about all that Vince. Got you ready to flex, go lift some weights around some neon lights. We got some Vince neon lights that we'd have at a gym here, right? So if you want to flex our lights, you want to do a set flex, like if you just like have trigger warnings.
Nope, I wasn't ready.
Oh, sorry, dude. It's all good.
The iPad has a password. Okay, do it again.
All
right, no, you're gonna have to do it again another time.
Yeah.
Anyway, just say we're working on the upgrades here.
Yeah, look at this.
So we've got a trigger warning signal.
We got trigger warning lights. We got party lights. We love lights.
Anyway,
some people love turtles. Some people love corn. We love lights.
I like lights quite a bit.
So, speaking of the other controversies that's kind of going around pop culture, because we're all about our culture pops. Last night on a Tuesday, we got the 80th annual Golden Globe Awards, which then I was just trying to figure out why they were on a Tuesday, and then you follow the rabbit hole down Twitter, and then you realize that
they buried it.
They buried it, and there was like a boycotts going on and I had no idea. I was like, wait a minute, that's the celebrity show where the celebrities get drunk and you make memes and stuff. But it got buried. Apparently, there was huge controversies there. But that was always like WWE has Royal Rumble to WrestleMania. Hollywood has Golden Globes to the Academy Awards. But they completely buried the biggest show, and I had no idea why.
It was always like the off-brand Oscars that people who don't follow entertainment think is the same thing.
And of all years, you get Brendan Fraser that's up for a Golden Globe, and then that led to one of the major controversies that he had. There was some misconduct against Brendan Fraser by the former president of the Hollywood Foreign Press. Is that what it is?
Yeah. That's who does the Golden Globes, is the Hollywood Foreign Press.
Did you see The Whale yet?
Yeah.
You did. What'd you think?
I think it's good, but I could see why it wouldn't be a lot of people's cup of tea.
Oh, really?
It's very dramatic, and it feels, if you were to look at it, like you squint your eyes a little bit, it could feel like one of the intro trailers from Tropic Thunder.
Okay.
Where it's like so much of an Oscar movie, and it's just in your face Oscar movie. You know, guy in fat suit, estranged daughter, health problems, you know, divorce, and it all takes place in one apartment.
He just made me feel so uncomfortable seeing like those pictures. I felt so like physically uncomfortable.
What
like,
pictures?
The pictures of him like with his hair, just kind of like the thinning hair, and then the overweight, and then he had the oxygen thing in his nose.
Yeah. And
it conveyed like, I feel really uncomfortable right now.
Yeah.
So, but this was the wrong year to do it. And then he was like My mom didn't raise a hypocrite. I am not going. I would have, now again, you can't work these, but I would have thought that he would have gotten enough Hollywood support that people would have got him the win to kind of get a little bit of.
Well, he lost a short round, right?
He did. Yeah, which is.
That's fair.
He lost a short round in what we are considering. That was our pick for movie of the year. Everything Everywhere All at Once. So, I mean, it's fair. Again, I don't know you saw both performances. You would have picked short round too?
I mean, Brendan Fraser is definitely great in it. It's just one of those movies that I think it's not, doesn't send you home happy, you know? It doesn't really have a positive buzz. It has a positive buzz, but I don't know. I don't really notice that I'd say, hey, you should go watch this because it's great.
I'm going to do a live edit. We're going to edit that. He didn't lose to, I can't say his name, so we're just going to call him Short Round. He actually lost to Austin Butler, who played Elvis.
Oh, okay.
That's who got the W.
He's going to run the table probably. He'll probably win Best Actor.
You're the one that don't do it. Do the line.
What?
Do the line.
I can't do it. We'll get YouTube banned. We can't curse on YouTube anymore.
Oh, you can, but just I'm realer than a donut. Yeah. I had no idea until you said that was the same person, and then I saw him on SNL, and he was a great. I think they're seeing a future Brad Pitt with him, right? That Austin Butler,
possibly. I don't know. He's definitely blew up fast. Well, no, he was in a Disney show, wasn't he?
He may have been, but Brad Pitt was there front and center at the Golden Globes yesterday, and he was kind of there. I took that as that was him giving Austin Butler the rub. That was a way of doing the job for him to anoint him as the next person, because he wasn't one of the boycotters. So let me just read through some of these winners here, and some of them we'll just blaze through because we might not even know who they are or who cares, but we'll just go through it. So we had the best performance by an actor in a supporting role. That went to Tyler James Williams for Abbott Elementary, which I did not see.
I've seen some of those episodes.
But
It's pretty good.
I've heard good things.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I had a soft spot for Fonz. I would have pulled for Henry Winkler in Barry because Barry's phenomenal. So, but it is what it is. The actress in that same category was Julie Garner in Ozark. I did not watch Ozark. You're an Ozark guy?
Ozark is pretty good. It's like the Netflix version of Breaking Bad. So it's good, but not Breaking Bad good.
Not Breaking Bad good.
Yeah.
Some of these, one of the other things they need to do clean up besides the racism is
and the sexual assault.
And the sexual assault is these titles are too long. Best performance by an actor in a supporting role in a limited series, anthology series, or motion picture made for television. I've already fell asleep.
Can you imagine the plaque on that award? How big is that?
It's like, can you do two-sided plaques?
Yeah.
Double-sided.
They have to
plaque,
write
please.
it like all around the structure of the award.
The winner of that one was Paul Walter Hauser. Is that Rutgers relation to Rutgers?
That's the dude from Cobra Kai.
Oh, really?
Oh,
yes.
What's his name in Cobra Kai?
Yeah,
His name is like Fire Eagle or something?
Yes. We did get a shout out, so I meant to tell you this.
He's an Austin guy, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an Austin guy. I'm going to count this as a shout out to the film I wrote and directed with Wayne and Randy, For Whom He Tolls, because he gave a shout out to the DP, Natalie Kingston, who was our assistant DP at the time, and he gave her a shout out, and I heard the name, and I was like, whoa. I was like, that's the closest we ever got to a shout out on a Golden Globe stage. So.
You're like just a few steps away from the Golden Globe.
Natalie, if you ever see this, congratulations.
2 degrees.
We knew you were going to be awesome back then, and it just goes to show. And now she blew up so fast, like there was no catching.
That's how it goes. I worked with Gabriel Luna here in town for a little while before before he blew up.
Yes.
Just next thing you know, he was the Terminator.
That's right. He was the Terminator. Ugh. Wasn't his fault though. On that same worded title,
it's still dope on your resume.
It is true. That's right. You can just say Terminator.
Yeah,
it's been in there.
2017 to 2018.
That same category, Jennifer Coolidge won for The White Lotus, which everyone's loving The White Lotus.
Yeah, I think I'm going to watch it.
Do you have a Jennifer Coolidge impression?
Do I? No.
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 No. I feel like again, it's the same. I feel like I do, but I don't. It's the same with my Drew Barrymore. I don't know if I do.
Your impressions are pretty good.
I just feel like she would say, y'all. She was like, because you couldn't tell if she was like drunk or playing drunk, but her thing. And again, I should preface this that I blazed through like YouTube clips and Twitter clips and I'm piecing it all together. I did not watch the show. I stand with Brendan Fraser. Encino Man, you got my vote.
What's up, Mike?
What's up? Oh, Mike's in there. What's
Mike's
up, man?
in the house. I think I'm gonna watch White Lotus season 2 first, and then go back and watch part 1 because I just Aubrey Plaza is like everywhere. I think she's awesome. I just watched Emily the Criminal on Netflix. Have you seen that?
I just saw the trailer for that, and I wanted to start watching that.
It's pretty good. It's a nice little movie. You know, I was like surfing the streaming channels. And why is everything 2.5 hours now?
They gotta stop.
See a movie. They gotta stop making movies 2.5 hours. We don't need that. Nobody needs that. We need 96-minute movies.
Oh my God.
So we can just just blaze through it, watch something, and enjoy something. These movie times are entertaining, and they're losing to YouTube. It's like 2.5 hours or 4 minutes. It's decided, but at 96, you can at least you can think about it.
Yeah, and you'll not go to something just by seeing the runtime if you want to see it.
You'll skip it.
Yeah, you will skip it before you even get to that point. So I totally agree. Well, remember our dollar theater was going to be 90 minutes or less. Like that was we were gonna do edits ourselves and cut it. Like no, you didn't really need that. I want to see the Mario J. Pena cut of Avatar.
Just do the real missing. Hey, a 90-minute cut of Avatar would be awesome.
Yeah.
All right. It'd be really good.
Yeah,
No, you'd probably need 2 hours, honestly.
Yeah, it probably would be too. Now, Babylon, I think we needed about 45 minutes, and I would have left that theater okay.
I want to go see it just to see it, but like the runtime is intimidating.
I saw it was up, and I was like, no, just don't. And they didn't do it. I thought Hollywood was going to acknowledge itself.
I did see a 2.5-hour movie that was totally worth it.
That one? Oh.
Alamo Drafthouse was playing Showgirls in 35 millimeter.
Oh, yes. We're going to talk about that in our banned movie sections tonight. But yes, Showgirls is always, and I'm glad that's getting love. And I'll tell you a story about that. When you talked about watching, I did some deep dive and I found some investigative reporting, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. It has a happy ending. Showgirls with a happy ending.
What's going on?
Oh, all right, I'll tell you. So, she. It was known, for me, I always called it Saved by the Bell, the Naked Years. You know, Jessie. She got a lot of heat, and she went to actor prison, as well as she was kind of felt really judged, and kind of like her career just did a complete 180 and just kind of disappeared. And she just hated that movie. Like it was one of those things that she had buyer's remorse on steroids, that she wanted nothing to do with it. And then she went to someone convinced Elizabeth Berkley to go to a 10-year anniversary screening of Showgirls, and she saw all the love that the movie got, and it completely turned it around. And like, look, mental health is no joke. She felt like she was on the verge of like losing it, and like, I don't even want to live anymore, to seeing that people do appreciate what it just took some time, like art. It took some time. And I was like, that's great. It gave her a happy ending. And now she's at peace and she's enjoying what she created. Because like you said, at the time, I didn't have any heat with it. I mean, it's the highest grossing NC-17 movie of all time. I went to the theater to watch it, and I had I was a Saved by the Bell mark. Was going to see everything they did. And if you're telling me she's going to be naked, I'm going to go see it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so it's directed by Paul Verhoeven, right? He did RoboCop and Starship Troopers. He's got everything he does is done intentionally. Now, I think Showgirls, the things that people find ridiculous about it are maybe some of the lines in the script, because there's a couple lines of dialogue that are just insane.
Yeah.
But the movie itself is super entertaining. It's well shot. The colors are amazing. And it's everything that Paul Verhoeven does is taking the piss out of something. And he's taking, your typical. It's basically A Star Is Born, like we just saw with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga.
Yeah,
it's the same.
You're
premise.
right. It's got the same vibe.
It's the same premise, but he's doing it about the outskirts of show business. Jeff, I feel like you know about the outskirts of show business.
Yeah, that's where I live.
This is the outskirts of show business, where everybody's dream is to be the highest you're shooting for is to be a dancer in a Vegas show.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Her meteoric rise. It's awesome. It's awesome to watch it, and it's almost like a film noir in a way because Nomi, her name is Nomi.
Nomi, yep. Nobody
knows who she is, but her name is Nomi. And she comes to town, no history, no social security number. We have no idea. There's probably a Showgirls prequel somewhere. Everything that happened before she went to Vegas. She doesn't even have a driver's license. There's a whole scene in Showgirls where they're trying to get her paid and she has no social security number. I just think the setup is really... I don't know. It's just an entertaining film.
It had the great setup, and it also had the great setup for the sequel. That was another thing that I found when I was digging around, that shot of looking at the sign of Las Vegas, L.A., that was the sequel, was going to be her in L.A. making it. And then it swept the Razzies.
And then Ty West stole that idea now.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it felt like. When I saw that, I was like, oh, that would have just been what Ty West is doing.
It's cool to see a movie like that on 35 millimeter because, when you see a movie like that, and you watch it on streaming or Blu-ray, something like that, it's so clear. Everything's been so restored, and when you're watching it on a print, it looks like the era that it's from.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like throughout the history of films, like every almost like generation has like a certain film grain to it. Every decade.
Yeah, I feel that with music, and you feel that with films, like when you're seeing the type of photography that you're doing in the film captures that, and that's why we did a short on this. You can never make a scarier movie than a movie that was made in the 70s because of that photography.
Right.
But you know who else loves Showgirls? Our friend of the show. Well, we're calling him our friend. I don't know if he's our friend, but Quentin Tarantino loves Showgirls. The quote from him was, "The thing about Showgirls, it's great."
Yeah.
And I mean great with a capital great, is that it's only one other time in the last 20 years has a major studio made a full-on, gigantic, big-budget exploitation movie. Showgirls is the Mandingo of the 90s.
Yeah.
I was like, dude.
And the casting is brilliant. It didn't work. Things get screwed up because of marketing, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
but that was a great poster. I love that poster with her leg.
And they got Elizabeth Berkley to come over from Saved by the Bell. She's the icon from the kids show. And when you see her on film, she has that exaggerated look of a Vegas showgirl. She's really tall. She's the tallest person in the movie by far.
Yeah.
She towers over everybody in her heels. And she's just got a face that screams, "Hey, I'm beautiful. Look at my face." You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's not subtle at all.
She would be the person that would be in her town and people say, "You're beautiful. You should go to Hollywood."
Exactly.
Right?
And she did. But she probably killed some people along the way.
Yeah. Did you know that they originally were going to book Madonna and Drew Barrymore in those roles? So Madonna was going to play the Gina Gershon role, and then Elizabeth Berkley role was going to be played by Drew Barrymore, and this was Poison Ivy years, and Drew Barrymore said, "No, that's just too much nudity in there."
It could have gone either way. And I think the key is the director. Paul Verhoeven is the thing that everything he does is intentional. He doesn't make bad movies. He made it you could argue some of his movies are not I think the stuff that he tried to do to be more commercial, like Hollow Man and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Hollow Man, he did that.
I think, but I mean, the effects in there were revolutionary. But anyway, he's a talented director. I don't think when you've got someone like that, they make something, it's not going to be bad. It's just going to be misunderstood.
And that's 100%. And I'm going to do another live self-edit. It was a 20-year anniversary of Showgirls, 20-year anniversary screening that Elizabeth Berkley finally made peace.
Man, that screening was packed. People were having a great time. I just think it's such a good. It's so entertaining, and you don't even feel that 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
That's one that earned its runtime. But I don't know. I don't know exactly what is about it that is so entertaining, and it's not bad. We don't laugh at the movie. I'm not laughing at the movie. There's nothing really that jumps out at me that makes me want to laugh. I just literally enjoy the movie. I think it's good.
It's aging very well, I think, and they're calling it a critical reevaluation of the film. And look, a lot of times these films are a little ahead of their time.
When we have so here's another double bill for whenever we have the location. Back to back, Starship Troopers and Showgirls.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Oh, Renato, what's up, man? How you doing? Welcome back. Haven't seen you. We haven't seen you since Twitch.
That's right.
That's a great double booking. I think that would
Starship Troopers, Showgirls double feature. Get your tickets now.
That's an instant sellout for sure. And I remember enjoying. I mean, I never had the heat with Showgirls that people did, but I do appreciate that as time goes on, people are really digging it. Because what I told you earlier, it is the number one NC-17 movie of all time.
Everybody hated The Thing when it came out.
Yeah. Was it the first ever NC-17 movie?
I don't know. Did they invent that rating just for that movie?
I feel like that was one of the ones that...
Well, that's baller in itself.
It has a lifetime gross of $20 million, good enough for first place. Other NC-17 movies were Shame, Blue is the Warmest Color, and Killer Joe, also with Gina Gershon.
Yeah.
So... But so you saw that you got an Alamo screening of it in 35 millimeter.
Yeah, beautiful.
And you said it was sold out.
Yeah.
There were some people who are actually calling it a deeply religious experience.
Dude, it's great. It's such a good movie. Nomi Malone, you can't take her eyes off her.
So what's the deal with the unofficial sequel that was made by the character? She was called Penny in Showgirls. What was the deal with that? She actually self-financed a sequel called Showgirls 2.
Which one was Penny?
So Penny was the one that remembered...
the roommate?
She was the one where it's just like, the customers don't want to get with someone named Penny. They want to get with...
Yeah. She was the one that, she ended up in that dance number.
Yeah, so she said it's in 2011, she made a satirical sequel called Showgirls 2, Pennies from Heaven, features some of the original cast members and pokes fun at its source material. There's a recut version that's coming out with deleted scenes, a shortened version, but I think she did it on Patreon, like she raised some money for it. A lot of casting directors would call me in for the big movies after Showgirls just to sit there and get mad at me. How could you have done that movie? You should be ashamed of yourself. So they were literally, Hollywood was okay, like, let this movie, and then they started shaming people for making it.
It was just, people just didn't understand it, and I think the fact that it was Elizabeth Berkley gave it a lot of attention that from folks who wouldn't really even know what the hell Paul Verhoeven would be going for. Now, I think, I'm not sure if he was dating Elizabeth Berkley at the time. He might have been.
I don't remember how I just remember there was a ton of press that they were booking the girl.
And then it's written by Joe Esterhaus or something like that, who I guess wrote some controversial scripts. But it holds up. It holds up. It's good. I feel like it's iconic. It's up there. Like people are going to be watching this movie 50 years from now.
Yeah, I mean, if you just go through some of his filmography of these films, I feel like as time goes on, he's getting way more accepted. Obviously, The Wrestler was great, but you're talking about RoboCop, Total Recall, Basic Instinct. I mean,
Basic Instinct's awesome, dude.
I mean, all these movies that are part of like any kind of Hollywood supercut that you would do that, those movies are right in there. So why? I mean, this is a really important part of Hollywood history for sure. Is Showgirls. That it really did change anything. So I think there's a documentary to to save it, to get that bad taste out of the people's mouth for whatever reason. Yeah, Hollywood execs didn't really like The Mirror. Because I did read somewhere, that's a good point, Renato. I read somewhere that he took out some pages in newspapers and he was trying to get younger girls to go there, and he's like, listen, go see Showgirls because we're holding the mirror up and exposing how all these women are exploited. we're not, like you said, no one's laughing. We're not making fun of this. We're exposing it. And that's probably why Hollywood didn't
And the
dig
thing
it.
is, Paul Verhoeven does it with a no-cell kind of aesthetic. All right, like you look at something like in RoboCop. The movie's called RoboCop, which is a ridiculous name for a movie anyway. You know, and it's you would think it's going to be like some sort of just like, you know, sci-fi shoot 'em up, but it's not. It's like taking the piss out of, like, you know, corporate America.
Yeah,
you know, and it's something like Starship Troopers where it comes off. It's positioning itself. It's like some sort of like sci-fi war epic. Star Wars. This is actual Star Wars
with bugs,
but instead it's played out like a pro-fascism movie. Like it's completely. It's done. This is a guy who grew up around Nazis, right?
Yeah,
he was overrun by Nazis, so he does Starship Troopers in the vein of a pro-fascism sort of movie. You don't realize that the people in the movie, your main characters, are all fascists. Killing these like
bugs,
nameless bugs,
yeah,
on another planet, which they invaded. They make it clear in the movie that the humans invaded their planet, not the other way around.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's funny that you say this, that Black Mirror took that same angle and put a serious slant on it, where they did something where they augmented the reality of their soldiers to convince them to go in to invade this village, and they were killing the people, but their augmented reality made it look like they were killing bugs.
Exactly.
And then they finally,
Yes.
they took it out. But you're right. It was basically just a fascist invasion.
Right.
And also the RoboCop thing. I mean, we talked about this last week. They signed into legislation somewhere in California, right? That they're coming up with robot cops that do have the ability to terminate their targets,
Yeah.
which we already have, right? With like drones can do that too.
Yeah.
So he might have just been one of those, not exactly in the Philip K. Dick sense, but he saw a lot of the writing on the wall. Like you said, when people live to tell these atrocities that they go through, maybe we should listen to them.
Yeah. When you've grown up around fascism, that was where you came up as a kid, and you survived to be a Hollywood movie director.
Yeah.
Maybe like listen to what they're saying. Just take it seriously.
And like you said, he's like, I'm not kidding. Just go see, because we were showing you how these girls are exploited.
Yeah.
So revisit Showgirls. And if Showgirls was around today, would it get a Golden Globe?
I'm not sure how it would play today, but I mean, you can't make a movie like that today. No one's gonna spend a bunch of money on something like that.
No.
You know,
No,
people don't take
do it.
chances. It's all about IP. Although Francis Ford Coppola is making his own IP type movie.
Is he?
Did you hear about this?
No.
He's like, you know, Francis Ford Coppola, the whole thing with Apocalypse Now, how he financed it himself and went crazy and broke and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So now he's like whatever 75 or something. He's doing it again. He's financing $120 million film
Himself?
Yeah.
Well, I did see that his wine was in Randall's.
There you go.
So
that's how you finance that movie.
That's that wine, that sweet wine money.
That's how you finance that movie. You put that wine in Randall's.
So what is it? What's it going to be about?
I don't know. It's called like Megalopolis or something like that. It's a sci-fi IP type thing. Like he's trying to invent his own.
Really good, man.
That's only James Cameron has done that successfully. There's only been two people, George Lucas and James Cameron,
that created that.
Yeah.
Did he mentor both of them? Well, he definitely mentored George Lucas.
Who?
Francis Ford Coppola.
Oh,
yeah, he mentored George Lucas, but then wasn't James Cameron like a truck driver on the set for like some George Lucas movies?
I don't know about that.
I feel like he worked as a PA or something for him.
Well, he worked for George. What was it? Roger Corman. He was a special effects guy.
That's right. Yep, he did. He was. Oh, yeah,
I was
he did.
thinking about this as I was watching Avatar again the other day, and then which is pretty good in IMAX. If you can catch it, probably check it out. Anyway, there's another. I wonder if there's James Cameron. He was like his dad was like an engineer. He was all into science. This is a legit smart guy. You know what I mean? I always find it fascinating when legit smart guys get into movies, because you know we do movies and lots of people we know do movies, but they're not like legit smart guys. You know, they're not
Right.
scientists. They don't have like those graphing calculators, or like they know how to use them.
Right.
Anyway,
they knew how to use them.
So I was just picturing an alternate universe where James Cameron, instead of becoming a film director, became like an engineer. And like he went on to like just innovate underwater travel, underwater exploration. So maybe we like invented submarines, and there's like a whole other alternate universe where we travel underwater because James Cameron invented it and did something, but they don't have Terminator 2.
Right. But remember when that they had that oil breakage, that pipe broke in the Gulf,
right?
And the oil was just spilling.
The BP oil spill?
Yeah. And James Cameron, he offered like his gear to go down there and fix it because you guys are dumb. You don't know how to do this. Like, you can use my stuff and go down there and fix it. And they told him no.
Yeah.
Like, how did you tell him no? Like, he has all this stuff.
After watching Avatar interviews and stuff like that, I realized that, what's his name? I forget the guy who plays the lead in Avatar, Jake Sully. He's just basically doing a James Cameron impression. I imagine this is how James Cameron talks at home.
Is that why he got booked for the role?
It's possible.
It's very possible.
Well, he wanted Matt Damon, but Matt Damon turned it down, and it was like the biggest mistake of his life. He had made $90 billion.
And he told him he's not doing that now.
Yeah.
But it's funny that there is this, I don't know if you want to call it earning your stripes, paying your dues. When Steven Spielberg won his award last night, and Quentin Tarantino was the one that presented it to him. Spielberg went on and told a story that John Cassavetes would be so proud, and then Spielberg went on a spiel about how he's always super nice to his PAs because he was a PA on the movies for Cassavetes. So they do take care of their own once you're in that system, but obviously there's a lot of other stuff that happens in there. How is it that this is the place where dreams come true can create so many nightmares?
I think somebody did a study and showed that most people who PA on bigger films do not go into show business.
Really?
Yeah. They're usually like friends of a friend's kids.
But that's like back in the day, I felt like that would have happened a lot more, right?
Yeah.
That back in the day when it's just like a hard day's work, get your foot in the door and then work your way up. But now you probably just, your crew just to be crew, and then you're just going to stick with your crew, and then you're going to go crew other movies. You're not necessarily going to do other things.
Yeah.
But then again, shout out to Natalie. Although she was
you said she was a camera assistant.
Yeah, she was doing the camera assistant.
Well, there you go. She kept working at it.
Yeah, she did.
And goes into it.
So that was a cool shout out.
Folks who've shot stuff I did have gone on to shoot things for HBO. I like to feel like I inspired them.
Yeah, you may have.
HBO, feature films, all kinds of stuff. It's funny though, if you're in it and you do it for a long time and just sort of like keep track, you see the people you worked with in the past sort of go on and do other things, and you hear their names pop up. It's like, oh, that's so-and-so from that one thing about the golden toilet that we shot that never went anywhere.
It's true. I mean, friend of the show, Wayne Knight, right? He shows up on he showed up on Raw all the time because he was, Bryan Danielson's first match. And even when Bryan talked about wrestling at, Midnight Rodeo right up the road, he just talked about that last week. I thought for sure, I was like, damn it, now Wayne's going to end up on AEW Dynamite, but he just doesn't own the footage. But I was like waiting for that name drop, though. And then he could have said that, he would have been up there with Rick Rude of being like on Raw and Dynamite around the same time.
Can he get us Bryan Danielson for the show?
Dude, I'm trying to get him to get us Shawn Michaels for the show, because he was like Shawn's like right-hand man for the longest time.
Yeah.
He's so humble, and then you would never expect it. But like Shawn was like Shawn's confident in San Antonio when Shawn was running these shows here. And then he's like, nah, he's not going to, like Wayne's very, very humble about it.
Renato says, my dream is for Jeff to say, hey, I worked with that guy when they announced my Nobel Prize.
I would never be surprised if I found out that Renato got a Nobel Prize.
I never get tired of telling the one story where me and you were at the Austin Film event. We were at the Austin Film event. Lots of big wigs were there. All the big, Mike Judge was there. Robert Rodriguez was there. All the big Austin people were there. And then we were in that crowd, and someone screamed out, "Hey, it's the guy from that B2B Companies videos." It's from it's the B2B marketing guy. We don't even know who said that. I couldn't see who was in the crowd.
No, I just
someone saw those damn videos.
No, I felt like Flo from Progressive at that point. I didn't realize that that's what I was. Oh man! Speaking on the Globes, is this is this going to be the end of award shows? Like, are they done? Like, is it something that's just doesn't exist anymore?
Well, I mean, it all depends on whether the folks who win awards are ready to admit that they're pointless and meaningless.
Yeah,
and it's all just like a dumb excuse. It's like when your company has an awards show. Why? It's like Michael Scott doing the Dundies, right? It's really just a celebration of just the fact that they exist, I guess. And who cares? I mean, the Oscars, I feel like when it's a good show, we can't go back to the Oscars. They slap people on there.
Oh, I know.
So maybe we should just call it on award shows. What do you think? Should they just put them away?
I'm thinking possibly, or make them into like super short, because now it's just basically you can put that on your LinkedIn that you just have a GIF of like a golden thing spinning. It's like, yeah, I won one of those awards. I don't know, because like you said, they had the slap, and then like now they had all this other controversy. Those are the two big ones. You have all those other awards, but no one really. The masses don't keep track of the other awards except these two.
They have countless
for films.
There's so much footage, Oscars footage of folks thanking Harvey, what's his name, for helping them win their Oscar.
God, yeah.
Someone could do a supercut of that.
That's terrifying.
So it's like maybe it means nothing. Maybe award shows should just yeah.
It could be, and maybe it just becomes a TikTok, and it's like it's not a 4-hour show. It's just we'll just do a quick TikTok dance of the award, and that's it.
Yeah.
We talked about the William Hurt story on here before, when somebody went up to him and he thought he was going to get asked for an autograph, and they said, "Can you take a picture for me?" And then he had to take William Hurt took a picture of somebody with a YouTuber, and they had no idea that they were talking to William Hurt.
Yeah.
But we were watching this movie last night, and we already started, so we'll go into our banned movie segment. We watched Possession on Shudder.
Possession is on Shudder.
It
hasn't been streaming anywhere for a while. I saw it years ago at AFS, but
You did see it before.
Yeah, I saw it on 35 millimeter at AFS. Maybe not. Maybe it was a 4K restoration. I don't know, but it's good. Like it's. I had heard about it. Who was it? Some folks back from the B2B company told me about it.
But, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they said you got to see Possession. So when it played at AFS, I went and saw it.
It's just, and I got into this because it realized we were talking about this was the craft, right? These actors, especially young Sam Neill, is in there. They're not getting in there to be famous. They're getting in there to act, to perform, to emote.
Yeah.
And that's
is that Monica Bellucci
is that her in there?
It seems like that's her, isn't it?
Let's see. Directed by or starring Isabel Adjani.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But she was very, like, you couldn't take your eyes off her, but I had no idea why was this movie banned?
Let's see. I'm not sure exactly. I don't know was it banned?
I heard it was banned, and this was the first time that they were airing it in a long time. And I was also trying to figure out, did this come before or after Sam Neill was in The Exorcist Part 3? Because I was like, this dude did 2 devil movies.
He was in Exorcist Part 3?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
He was
it was
I'm sorry, this is our third live self-edit. The Omen Part 3.
Oh, it was deemed a video nasty by the UK film folks.
Now there was that scene with the demon doing the video nasty with that girl. I mean, that was pretty up there.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't, it's like, oh, okay, that looks like just 2 people having sex. But then, wait a minute, is that a tentacle? Wait a minute, is that a tail?
Yeah.
But then it looked like an arm. It was something else. And it I don't know if you can pull up that picture, that Possession. It looked like kind of Medusa looking thing. I mean, it was shot really well. And it definitely gave you the vibes of I lost my.
It is shot really well. I love the way it's shot. Very creative cinematography.
It had that time period that you just like. This was very specific, but it made you feel like super uncomfortable too on a lot of stuff. Like when Sam Neill was like smacking her around, then you felt really uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
But then he was just in a fight with somebody before that, and then it just felt like the most awkward fight. Like these two people have never thrown a punch in their entire life. But nothing pales in comparison to what I guess you called the milk scene.
Yeah, the milk scene.
The milk scene. Like, what was that? So let me get... So Possessions, the 1981 horror film directed by Andrzej Zawalski and written by Zawalski. The plot obliquely follows the relationship between an international spy, which I did not know he was an international spy till I read this, and his wife, who begins exhibiting increasingly disturbing behavior after asking for a divorce.
They don't make that clear that he's a spy.
Yeah, right? He's an international spy.
Why is she spying on her?
I don't know. It's an international man of mystery, I guess. It was a co-production between France and West Germany and shot in West Berlin in 1980. And it premiered at Cannes. Like, how is he a spy? That never came into play. There was a lot of random people that just kind of came in and out, and it was a tough movie to keep up with, for sure.
I was watching it just before you got here, and I think I'm going to put it on again after you leave.
He's a spy who returns home from West Berlin from a mysterious espionage mission to find his wife wants a divorce. That's how it starts. And it reminded me of the Adam Driver movie. With Scarlett, it's just like, I wish every day you're dead.
Yeah.
Like, once that happened, I was like, okay, it's going to go in that vibe. But then it started going in a completely other direction. And then it started doing a lot of these cuts that you couldn't tell what was real anymore. Like, I had a lot of trouble.
So you sat through the whole thing?
I did.
Yeah?
I did, yeah. I stopped it before I went to bed. And so I had another hour left. So it was performed as a two-parter because, like, this can't be the last thing I watch before I go to sleep. It just cannot be. But it just got crazy. And then I had no idea. But I did like that ending. The ending was cool. And again, that's when you saw The Omen, the final chapter. You saw that Sam Neill in there. They had that same look where it looks like it was going to be some kind of doppelganger. But I loved his kid named Bob, which I love that. Like, you don't have little kids named Bob anymore. It's like, Bob, get the door. It's like, don't send 5-year-old Bob to get the door. What are you doing?
No, Bobby gets the door.
He does, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, after all this happened, he's like, don't let him in. Don't let him in. Don't open it. Or whatever he was saying, but he kept saying it over and over again. And then he ran up the stairs and he just dove into the bathtub head first, like he was hiding underwater. I don't know why that ending was just like really, really eerie. Like that part
I had to play the rest of that. I don't even remember that.
Oh man, no, it was very cool. Like the way it ended. It's like, don't let him in, don't let him in. But I couldn't tell if the new girlfriend was already dead. Like we can still throw up a spoiler warning, and I couldn't spoil this if I wanted to.
I don't think so.
Because I'm still trying to go through what's happening. Yeah, so it was Helen, which I thought was his girlfriend, but it was his teacher. But then she had a spot where it looks like her throat got slit. And so it's like, oh, she's gone. But no, she's back. But that doppelganger was coming back, and he was coming for Bob. And that's when Bob was like running, imploring her not to open the door. But Helen ignores him. And then you hear the sirens and planes and explosions fill the air. So I don't know what happened, but it sounds like the bad guys may have won. And the doppelganger was there to get his son, Bob. But Bob knew this was coming.
Yeah.
But I still just couldn't tell if Sam Neill was a baby face or a heel in there. Like, first he thought he was a victim, but then he started smacking his wife around, but then he went crazy, but then he saw the demon thing, and then he's like, maybe we'll feed it. Like, what the hell happened?
I got to revisit. Like I said, that's why when I heard that it was streaming, I said, we got to watch it. And so I was going to make time to watch it again. I didn't realize you were going to get ahead of me.
I kind of would enjoy seeing that. This might even be a film that is better in the theater where you're just like, you can't move. Because I'm gonna have to I went for, we're trained now. We look for those YouTube breakdowns.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what just happened? But I mostly wanted to find out why it was banned.
Yeah.
And it was a video nasty.
They called it a video nasty, which UK will ban those tapes. They banned Evil Dead and stuff like that.
They banned Evil Dead too?
Yeah, Evil Dead was a video nasty. Sam Raimi had to fly to the UK and testify that it wasn't. And he was like, is your movie a video nasty? He was like, no. And thank you.
But that's like sometimes in a way that's like a badge of honor, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
If you can get your hands on Faces of Death, like you're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, well, this is, when you think about it, it's funny because this is a guy who wanted to do comedies. You look at his old shorts, they're all like Three Stooges bits, you know? Yeah. And it's like, well, I'm going to do a horror so I can sell it. And you do a horror that's so terrifying you get in trouble.
It was very and we can talk about the nudity in there. The nudity felt very 80s and very real.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about Showgirls. There was no need for any ice cubes on this set. You're just going to get what you got.
It's Europe, so it's cold.
Yeah, it was very raw. And seeing like a young Sam Neill in there was interesting. Because again, I don't know about you, but there's a lot of horror movies that stuck with me growing up, you know, and people always announce that The Exorcist is one of them. But I got to say The Omen is in there, the entire series. And then The Omen 2, like that little Damien, like I can't not hear that name and not think of that movie. Mm-hmm. So seeing the final chapter with, you know, Sam Neill in here, when I was watching this, I was like, man, there he is again. Like maybe if this guy, so he has Event Horizon, Possession, and The Omen 3, the final chapter.
In the Mouth of Madness?
In the Mouth of Madness, yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, that's another one. It's like somebody needs to check Sam Neill's DNA.
Yeah. And he's the Jurassic Park guy too. So.
Yeah, that's right. So I don't know. It was I don't know if this was the heavily edited cut. It's on Shudder, so I doubt it.
No, Shudder will not edit their movies, which is amazing. They'll put a disclaimer in front if they feel like it needs explainer. They're just like, hey, this was from a different time, but we're not going to edit the movie. Just so you know.
I didn't feel like that edit because
I don't think they would edit it.
The milk scene. The milk scene was like, was she passing that milk after like I don't know if she drank it. She was definitely like smashing it on her head and throwing it all over herself. But then she was grunting like she was trying to pass something. And then you saw basically the secret sauce from Fast Times at Richmond High, ketchup with mayonnaise.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that. What's the secret sauce of All American Burger? Thousand Island dressing, ketchup with mayonnaise. All right, that's kind of gross.
I got to revisit now and get all the way through the end.
But we'll use that spot for a pivot spot, right? Because I was also eating lunch when I was finishing the movie, so maybe that didn't help. Mm-hmm. But if I was in a theater, it's like, would I be eating? But like if you're in a theater in Austin, you would be eating and you would be drinking, and you'd be drinking the home hooch that you brought because this is an exclusive. You found a way to sneak beverages into a movie.
Well, yeah, I was. As I mentioned, I was going in to see Avatar again. As you know, that movie is 3 hours and 9 minutes.
Oh yes,
is that right? 3 hours and 9 minutes?
Actually, a little bit longer.
So I was going to go to AMC, which is it's not my regular spot, but AMC will play another half hour of trailers before then. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to take some beers in there with me or something. Because McShooter's bar is not always open.
McShooter's. I like how you got called out for that. Like, it's not called McShooter's, and like he didn't get what we're trying to do.
What you want to do is pick out one of your favorite stores from the mall and, buy a product there. Maybe you've already bought a product and you've got the box laying around, maybe like some sneakers. Those make great boxes. So get a box of your old sneakers, let's say, and put a napkin in there, fill that joint up with like some ice packs, load up a couple of beers into the sneaker box, and then you've got the bag from the store that the sneakers came from, and you can carry that into the movie with you because you were just shopping at the mall. It's nothing weird about that. You would just go back into the movie now, and you can set that bag down next to you at the theater and just reach down into the bag. You've got a shoebox full of beers to last the 3 hours and 45 minutes that you would have to sit there for Avatar.
If you do, and I'm just doing some cocktail math, top tail napkin math in my head, you could probably fit. How many beer cans can you fit?
Well, it depends what kind of shoes.
Box?
What kind of
what
shoes?
size shoe?
If you've got
is it
some
sneaker?
slip-on
is it
Vans,
a moccasin? Is it a flat? Is it a flippy? Is it a slide?
If you got some slip-on Vans, that'll probably get you about 4 beers easy. If you want to leave some room, I like them extra cold.
Okay.
So I want to leave room for the
ice.
For the ice, yeah.
So you're gonna get less beer, but it's gonna be colder, so it's gonna be more satisfying.
Well, I mean, if you're sneaking more than 4 beers into the movies, maybe you should talk to somebody. Maybe you should get help. I mean, I feel like 4 is reasonable.
Yeah, I don't like. Well, the whole issue I had, and we talked about that story on our Heat with the Paramount Theater seats, is if you're sitting next to the wrong person, and if you drink a lot of beer, and you don't have a good bathroom path and a bathroom situation, it can get rough.
I'm starting to think that movie theaters have some sort of algorithm that tries to get you to buy seats. I think Mike B was talking about this one time. But I've been noticing as I'll go to a movie, I'm like, oh, there's this many seats left. Oh, here's a seat for me. I'll get this seat. There's not that many. But I'll go and the movie's not full.
Yes, I've seen that.
You've seen this, right?
Yes, I have.
The movie's not as full as it was on the app. So I feel like the app is trying to make it seem more full than it actually is. So you'll just hurry up and just pull the trigger on those tickets.
Yeah.
There just happens to be 2 seats right here on the aisle left for you, dude. Why don't you just go ahead and hit purchase?
There's got to be some strategy.
I feel like it's working like that now.
So yeah, Mike had a strategy. He brought up a way of why they're doing it. Wayne also had another one that he thought, why not get some marketing bucks from the studio and just, hey, it's marketing. Just buy the seats back. The money's just going to come right back to us, but make it look like it's full. That was his thinking on that, and sounds very reasonable because there's some movies that you buy the seats and you go in and you're like, we're not even close to capacity. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not. There's a lot of people that come in late. Like I will go there to the previews, whether they're the 30 minutes at Cinemark or the 15 minutes at Alamo or the 7 to 10 minutes at Flicks. I go through and see it. And a lot of people don't do that, and they book in their time. They're like, oh, the movie's not going to start at their time, and then they come in late. And then you don't know if those seats would have been full or not.
If AMC is listening to this, a nice feature would be, why don't you just add a timer to the app? Let me know when the movie's actually starting.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great? Why don't they do that? They want you to get there early so you can buy more popcorn. I'm going to buy popcorn anyway.
Yeah, the popcorn's coming.
I'm going to get it. I'm already going to buy it. No one's going to go to the movie and not buy snacks.
No, you need something. You need one thing.
If they're not buying snacks, they weren't ever going to buy it.
No. Shout out to Cinemark. That one thing that they do now, and it works so well now, they charge you, is they had the delivery. Like you just buy the snack they're like, hey, you want to add in a snack? Hey, we will send this to your seat when you get here. So as soon as you check in, within 10 minutes, someone will come and hand you your snack.
That sounds fun. I could maybe go for that.
I have done it, and it's great. Except don't get your popcorn too close to your soda.
I kind of want to get another movie membership. I'm going to get maybe a third one at like Regal. There's like a really crappy Regal down the way. And I went and saw Dawn of the Dead there when it was 3D.
Yep.
And I kind of miss the standalone movieplex.
Yeah, remember when they were just they were all the new rage, and now I feel like those are the empty halls.
Yeah, and they don't do dollar theaters anymore, which I miss. I would kill for a dollar theater. What that would be great.
Yeah, there's that one in Round Rock that's just sitting there, that's not doing anything.
Yeah,
but I can. How many of these movies just play for empty seats? Like they just let it roll and nobody's watching. There's got to be, because there's some movies that you go and see and it's pretty empty. Babylon when I went and saw it was actually pretty empty.
Yeah,
that was a lunch showing. That second screening of Barbarian, that was great because there was all like-minded people in there,
right,
and doing that. But I wish Cinemark is not the movie club member like it is other ones. So you pay your one flat fee, and that guarantees you one ticket a month. So basically, all you're doing is buying one movie ticket in advance. They're giving you 20% off merch, 20% off food and snacks, no online fees. And then if you don't use that one movie ticket you bought in advance, it just rolls over to the next one. Oh, and then your companion ticket. So like if you go in there and buy 2 tickets, you use your credit that you already bought. Your second seat, as long as it's not upcharged like XD or 3D, is an extra $5. That's like $8.99 a month.
That's too complicated. I think you need to AMC. Well, there's not that many AMCs in town. There's only like 2, but
No.
AMC is like straight up. That's it. One fee. I think it's $19.99. You can have 3 tickets a week. No questions asked. We don't care what you watch.
Yeah, Cinemark does make it way too
IMAX,
way too complicated.
3D, whatever, Dolby. It's all good. Just
What is
go.
the difference between their Dolby and their laser? Do you
The
know?
laser is the regular. Dolby is the dope one.
Damn it. I got it mixed up. I
Yeah.
was like, I knew it was a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, they try to make it cool, sound cool by calling it a laser, but it's just
It's just a regular screening.
It's just a regular screening. Yeah.
So they do have an eatery in town now.
What does?
AMC.
I know there's one. I've never been to it, but
It's okay. It's very it's not the Pizza Hut pizza, but it's a little bit. You're not at Alamo Draft House, but you
I
can
don't
order
really
it all
want
in
that.
advance.
I need a theater that's just run by folks that are like 15 that are
Yeah.
not going to bother me when I bring in a shoebox full of beer.
Oh yeah, then that's your place. And if you don't mind it look like that your food just came from the convenience store, then you're good. That's your joint.
Well, I'm not getting. Yeah, usually the AMC, I'm not getting food. It's like just popcorn. That's it.
Yeah,
as far as I'll go.
It's called the dine-in.
Yeah.
They can do that. But I do appreciate, like you said, Cinemark just way complicates it. It's like, just give me the movie club membership so I can go here. Which, did you get on that waiting list for movie club?
What's
movie pass?
I mean, I had the original movie pass.
But they said they were coming
Oh, yeah,
back.
I signed up for the waiting list for the
Oh, you
new one.
did?
I can't imagine they're going to actually pull it off.
No, I couldn't. Did you have to pay to get anything on there?
No.
Like, did you, and payment in advance or nothing?
No.
So they were just gauging interest by having a waiting list?
I guess, yeah.
Velvet rope style. I didn't get, by the time I got there, they said the waiting list was closed.
Yeah.
Man, we were using that up. Dude, we used that everywhere, didn't we? We were at
Yes.
AFS, we were getting
Yeah, everybody took it.
Yeah. Alamo, we were doing it. I remember going to Alamo, and I even went the day before, and I was like, because my issue with it was the not being able to reserve seats. So I was like, I tried to go there the day before, and the guy's like, dude, they're going to kick you out. Just to let you know, they're going to ban you if you're doing what you're doing. And I was like, I just want to be able to reserve the seat. I don't want to go there and not know that I need to know where I'm sitting. I'm very seat specific.
Right.
So I just don't like, can you imagine there used to be people that would go to the movie theaters and not know what they're going to see?
Yeah, I know. I remember that. And I remember people getting there late to the movies and not being able to find like a good seat.
Yeah.
There was always just like, trailers would be happening and we're on to the last trailer. And now it's just like, we're to the just welcome to Cinemark front row Joe sort of bumper. And someone's walking around, stomping around, going up and down, trying to find 2 seats together. And there's only 2 seats separated. And you just hear them like stomp out and they're cursing on their way down the hall. And they probably got a refund.
They were awfully confident for somebody who was clearly a poor planner. That's what drives me nuts about those tardy parties. Like, they walk in, they don't mind like standing in front of the screen and pointing and looking, and it's just like, you're a poor planner. Stop being so confident. You should be humble that you're even trying to find a seat right now.
Well, that's just the way things used to be. I was watching that 525/75, and it occurred to me that like when Star Wars and Jaws were big, people would just stand in line at the movie for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
To watch Jaws one time. Isn't that crazy?
When was the last time you stood in line for a movie?
I mean, if you go to film festivals, you do it 100% of the time.
That's true.
But I guess Fantastic Fest doesn't do it even though they've got a queue. But yeah, I can't think of it. Probably some older film festivals. Yeah.
So for me, it's Avatar and Avengers Endgame, because the Bob Bullock IMAX, you can't reserve your seat. So you buy your ticket, and they're not going to sell you if they sell more tickets than they have seats, but they don't guarantee where you're going to be. So it's basically, it feels like an amusement ride queue.
Yeah.
When you get in there, they're going to let the first section in and the second section in. So if you haven't gotten a chance yet, though, I try to see the avatars there. So looks like Soraya's match is going on. JJ gave us the spoiler warning, but it looks like nothing happened yet. So we want to take a quick break, grab a little agua really quick, go into our final go home spot.
Yeah.
All right, cool. BRB.
I bet you think my favorite bubbly is champagne. Well, surprise. What I really love is Sun Country Wine Cooler. It's a truly marvelous blend of real fruit juice and premium wine. As a matter of fact, it's the best tasting cooler I've ever had. So when they asked me to talk about Sun Country, naturally I accepted. Sun Country. Say, gimme the real juice cooler. They told me I'd be working in fur, but this is ridiculous.
Wang announces the most important step in managing information since the computer. WangNet. WangNet is the electronic connection that gives anyone in your office any kind of information they need instantly by linking together every conceivable kind of office equipment, no matter who makes it. WangNet links you to floors below or satellites above, using just half its capacity, leaving room, of course, for Wang's next breakthrough in office automation.
I am here to make a pitch for Sun Country Peach. Why me? Because I'm crazy about the taste of peach. And Sun Country Wine Cooler is the most refreshing blend of premium wine and real peach juice I ever pitched. It has such a great taste. It's how you say it? Peachy, peachy. Sun Country. Say, give me the real juice cooler. You know, I don't mind doing cuchi in a bear suit, but it's so itchy. Caramba, me está matando tanto esa hormiga dentro de los pantalones.
Let's buy our small computer from the giant computer company. You can't beat Goliath.
No. Right, David?
Sir, let's go with Wang. Nobody makes a better small computer or word processor. They're giant killers.
It happened before. It can happen again, because nobody's hungrier than Wang.
He's right.
I used to be frightened by all the wine coolers I saw. I was scared I wouldn't pick the right one. Luckily, I did. It was the most refreshing one of them all, Sun Country Wine Cooler. You see, Sun Country is a blend of premium white wine and real fruit juice. That's what gives it its great taste. Sun Country, say, give me the real juice cooler. If you don't say Sun Country, you'd better sleep with your lights on.
All over the world, Wang is a leader in office technology. Word processing, data processing, and now with our new electronic mail system, you can send all kinds of information from one part of the world to another. So New York can be around the corner from Paris, London from Tokyo, and San Francisco next to Rome. Wang, making the world more productive by bringing it closer together.
Sorry. Yo.
Boom, 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 boom.
Sheeta heel turn, you said.
Yeah, it looks like we got a Sheeta heel turn, which is great. I think we need a little bit something. She was always great, but he just felt like nothing was ever really going to happen with her. I think her being a heel can just reinvigorate everything about her. Like, you really get to showcase her a little more if she goes like wild. Like, think about when Asuka like really just said, screw it, I'm gonna go wild, I'm gonna dance, I'm gonna say whatever I want to say. And I felt like that just helped her whole mystique about her. Like, she feels like a star. Sheeta could feel that too, you know, if she just goes, I'm not saying mimic. Oh, it was an accidental heel turn, yeah, but I'm not saying mimic Asuka, but just do. There's something that I felt like a light switch went off where you're just like, I know I'm a great wrestler, but I also know I have to be an entertainer too to get people to remember who I was. And I feel like this is a right direction for Sheeta, for sure.
I'm into it. I think she's great. I like her a lot.
I'd like to see it. So, let's go. Let's go home. Let's go home and talk about the movie we were extra hyped for. I know I was. And that's Megan, spelled with a 3.
Yeah,
Megan was in there. You went there. What were your thoughts on Megan?
I think Megan is fine. It's a fine, well made, well executed film. I was thinking about it, and I think it's kind of funny because what month is it now?
It's we're mid-January. We're 1/11 today.
Mid-January, which is like notorious for when like studios drop their crap.
Yeah.
Right? Everything that they don't know what to do with comes out in mid-January. But they put out Megan, and it was a lot of marketing behind it, don't you think?
Oh, a ton.
Ton of marketing. There was memes. People were digging it. So people got out and watched it. You know?
They were excited
because there was
about it.
marketing behind it. And I think it helps that it's a good movie. I think the thing that I found it lacking was that everything, all the best spots were in the trailer.
Yeah.
It didn't really give you any surprises outside of the trailer. So I would say that I think most people will enjoy it, but I don't think it was outstanding. Megan 2 could be huge.
Which has already been greenlit.
So yeah.
Megan 2 is so they've already announced Megan 2, and they've announced an unrated cut because apparently there was a higher body count and a little bit more blood that got cut out once the trailer started going viral and they realized teenagers were getting behind it. They're like, we need these teenagers to see this.
And they came. That's a great opening. It opened bigger than Scream.
Yeah.
And it's an original IP. That's huge, man. When you bust out an original IP, then now this could turn into 2-3 movies.
Yeah.
That's a hit. That's a hit.
I love that.
Killer Doll.
Right? It's just like...
We haven't done Killer Doll in a while. Let's try it again.
No, they just took Chucky and did a little bit of a merge with Terminator. Is for lack of a better Yeah, Megan 2. That's how it's going to have to look. They're going to have to do something funky with the numbers. Like JJ. It is weird. We got Megan 2. I just liked... Is it weird? I really enjoyed that doll's performance.
It was a good performance. It was an interesting way to do it. You know, they had an actual 12-year-old girl play Megan, and she had a CGI face on her.
And they just, the way they did it, and they even kind of explained why they had a little bit of the eye droop, but it's just the whole, we're getting into Quint's speech, the shark's eyes, like a doll's eyes, dead eyes. Like, I feel like he listened to Quint explaining what a shark would look like with a doll's eyes and found that with Megan. But like everything else in this actress's body was performing except her eyes. Like, you're a director, you talk about like, you got to look at the eyes. You got to watch you can tell a story with your eyes. She told a story with no eyes.
Yeah.
How do you do that? But I do agree with you that a lot of the high spots were shown in the trailer. But was your theater filled with laughter like you were watching Airplane 2, the sequel?
There was a lot of laughs, especially in the beginning.
Laughs.
The ads at the beginning were really good, kind of set a comedic tone. So yeah, there was a lot of funny spots. It was good. It was solid. I think, if anything, the amount of laughs was sort of a surprise, and that's what you got.
Shout out to our friend Rainbow Fright, also a fellow YouTuber, and she did a reaction to walking out of Megan, and she's like, "Oh, I went and saw this by myself, and I felt awkward because I was like, I was laughing a lot."
Yeah.
And then I just we replied to her just like, and I just pictured her being like De Niro in Cape Fear with the cigar and just because even though I saw the spots in the trailer, I still popped for them. But it would have been cool to find the spots that you didn't see.
It's a good movie. It's a well-made movie.
Very
I don't
well
think
made.
there's nothing to complain about really. It's just maybe it's just for folks. Not everybody watched the trailer 1,000 times, I suppose.
Yeah.
So it's like, for folks that are maybe coming in cold, I think they're probably had a great time and be good enough for a part 2. $2.5 million budget, and I think they came out with 30. That's huge. Jason Blum is killing it.
Man, Blumhouse.
He predicted RRR for Best Picture.
Oh, I hope so.
That was his prediction.
I hope so. I hope he's right. I don't know if we want to throw a little bit of a spoiler warning up there because there's something I want to talk about Megan. Oh, Megan 2.0. That's what they should do. Just call it 2.0. But that's not the spoiler. The spoiler is another rule that they broke, right? The rule was act with your eyes, but Megan had no eyes and it worked. And they broke... Oh, man, JJ, stop. I'm trying to keep focused, but look at how he wrote Megan 2. All right, that's great. They broke 2 cardinal rules, and it's oh man, I wish we should have did the trigger warning lights here. I should have gave you a heads up on the trigger warning, because there was.
It's just that the iPad signs me out.
No, it goes to sleep.
Yeah.
But there's 2 trigger warnings in this movie, and I was like, are they really going to do it? They're really going to do it. And I haven't seen it done since the Babadook, but the Babadook did it too. And I saw it with my son. Here we go. Trigger warning. They killed the dog.
Well, we didn't see the dog.
We didn't see they killed the dog, and I guess
you think the R-rated version is going to have the dog murder?
I don't think they're going to show the dog actually getting murdered. Just getting the dog swiped away was enough that it told the message. Because I remember my son seeing the Babadook, and that's like this generation's, everyone goes back to like that's being like this generation's horror movie, one of them. But he hated it, and it's because you saw the bear hug of the dog. And you heard the whine, and it was like that's a trigger warning. So when Megan grabbed that dog and it was like, phew, I was like, ooh. But they didn't show it, so you could just tell. Don't worry, I'm sure Megan sent that dog to a farm upstate where they love other dogs and they'll be running and playing together.
Yeah, because that'll upset people more than anything. You could murder an entire family, or a dog, and people will definitely get more upset about the dog.
Yeah, don't show the dog guy. And that's what gets me too, because this movie had a second trigger warning was showing a little kid dying. Yeah. Well, they didn't show it. It was very much like Pet Sematary. It showed enough, but you saw the blood on the road and you saw the car. But they got away. The way they got away with that is they were like, they made that kid a dick. He was a dick. Like, he was like, I don't know if that was his mom or his whatever, but like he was dropping F-bombs towards her and just like calling her by her name. And then she's like, oh, I don't know. He gets, I don't know. It reminded me of Joe Pesci smacked around girl in Goodfellas. Like, he doesn't like when I do that. And I was like, whoa.
Would a kid's ear stretch like that?
Oh man, it stretched far.
That was almost like an airplane gag.
It was like it stretched.
It was like the Naked Gun, like O.J. Simpson's ear would be stretched.
It stretched like, yeah, it looked like it would have wrapped it around the face, but it made you wince, right? Like, I definitely winced because I was wondering how far. We learned this in pro wrestling that it doesn't take much to rip off an ear. And Cactus Jack can tell you all how easy an ear could come off. So I was really like, wow, they really are stretching that ear gag. But did you also get the feeling from this little kid? Like, was he gonna, I don't want to say the R word. I don't know what Google's word, but like, was he gonna like assault her? Like the way he threw her down, the way he smacked the doll, and then the way he stood over her. I'm like, they're not gonna have him do what I think they are they?
He learned it from his parents.
The way he smacked it around, and then the way he stood over Megan, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
The movie is like a big. If there's an overarching theme, it's like a critique of like parenting styles or something like that, right?
Oh, for sure, because they got into it. They're like, well, if Megan is doing all this for your kid, like, what are you gonna do as a parent?
Right.
So they picked up on that, and yeah, he clearly that's what he saw. I learned it from watching you. He got that from his dad.
Yeah. This is my dad's crack.
Yeah. So those 2 trigger warnings kind of surprised me. That's how they kind of got around it. They were justifying it. How did you feel?
But then Megan did the TikTok dances. No, but like, yeah, it was, and I think that's probably, it's funny to think the R-rated version, what the R-rated version is actually going to be, considering those are probably the 2 big kill spots, right?
Yeah.
I forget how the boss gets it. I don't remember.
Oh, he got it with the paper cutter.
Yeah.
She used it as a sword, and then the other guy got it too.
Was he a bad actor, that guy?
It was something awkward about it because they made it seem like he was going to be a heel when he was stealing company secrets. But then when Megan started like basically giving him a psychiatric breakdown of his personality, and then the way he reacted, yeah, there's something definitely strange about that.
He was a bad actor, though. That actor was
might have been, yeah. They
Good,
could have got not good.
I don't mean like his actions were bad. I mean like the actor doing it. I feel like maybe he was never been in a movie before.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I think you're right. There was something awkward about there.
Yeah,
I think there was some post cut, like after the original cut was done. I think they did something to save the Guardians. The little girl's Guardians lab assistants, because you notice they blew up. They did it very much like Hooper and Jaws, like, we'll find a way to keep you alive. I think there's probably an R-rated cut where they got theirs for sure.
Yeah.
What about the spot with her original robot for college? Did that get you like all amped up? Because that's one thing I didn't expect. It reminded me of Ed. What's the robot call number in RoboCop? Ed 209.
Ed 209.
Ed 209.
Which one are you talking about?
Her robot at the end that they used to fight Megan when the little girl.
Oh, right.
Bob.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was called Bob.
Yeah.
And then did I didn't expect that, and it had a very Big Hero 6 vibe in there, and it felt a little bit heroic, like in the whole time you were kind of laughing. I kind of enjoyed that, and you didn't see that coming in the trailer at all, on like how, if this little girl stood no chance, like how was she going to fight Megan? Like nobody could fight Megan. I couldn't believe that anyone got any kind of like, Megan's like Goldberg. She's just going to squash everybody.
Right.
She poisoned the neighbor.
Yeah.
Right. That was kind of like no one could stop. She was very much like the Terminator.
I think they definitely played it nice, and it was a nice surprise. But I mean, it's one of those things where basically they took a movie conceit and did something different with it. Have you ever heard of a movie theory thing called Chekhov's gun?
I've heard the theory, but remind me what it was.
Chekhov's gun says that if there's a movie in the first, if you're watching a movie and you see a gun in the first hour of the movie, before the end of the movie, that gun's going to get shot.
Oh, yep. Okay.
So they did basically the same thing, except this was with a robot that boxes.
Yeah.
So they had a boxing robot that they showed, and before the end of the movie, the boxing robot was going to get utilized.
Did it make you feel, and you're absolutely right, once you saw it, you're like, okay, they are going to use that, and they did. Did you get the vibes, did you get the aliens vibes from there? Get away from her, you bee.
It's pretty good. I mean, I think that's kind of taken direct spots from other movies now is the style of what you want to do for your small budget horror film like this, you know?
Yes.
You got to reference. You got to just punch up.
And there's some great YouTube videos on that of, because there's people like Quentin Tarantino, he's a thief, like he steals, like directly steals from stuff. And I don't have any heat with that at all, because it's definitely a remix, but he also puts great ideas around it. And it's like, almost like he's just finding a different way to expose us to stuff that we've never been exposed to before and put them all together.
My favorite thing in the world is to watch movies that they talk about on Video Archives podcast now, and then listen to the podcast again. I just watched Dress to Kill on.
Oh, you did watch that again?
And I do not even remember it like being the way it was. For some reason, I remember Dress to Kill being like. And mind you, I probably watched it when I was young, really young.
Yeah.
It was like some sort of commercial thriller, but it's not at all. It's so weird. The whole movie is so strange, and the way Brian De Palma shoots everything is just so cool. It's funny to think he was like in the 80s. He was Tarantino. He was the one every movie would come out as an event.
Yeah. Exactly. I love when you get to the point where you get the director that becomes the cell.
There's not very many of those left.
There's not. And that kind of makes me sad. I feel like in a way we're getting that obviously Quentin Tarantino, we have it. You just go to see
we got Tarantino, we got Scorsese.
Yeah, he can.
Nolan,
yep, he's getting to that point.
I think P.T. Anderson probably still.
And
Wes Anderson.
That'll go. What about like what we were just talking about with Megan? Like the next Blumhouse film you're always going to see, right? Blumhouse, A24. When you see those logos on there, that's close to that same vibe. Like you're just going to go see it because you trust the films they've done in the past.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know that I ever trust a logo.
No.
But like they'll attach their logos to a lot of good films. I mean, wasn't Yule Log at A24?
Was it? I hope so.
I feel like Yule Log was A24.
They had a good run last year, sure, but I with Blumhouse and horror, I feel like they're starting to get that. Don't you think?
I mean, Blumhouse at this point could start a theme park.
I would go in a second.
You have Purge Land. You've got Sinister Land. You've got the Conjuring Land, where you can get like soup.
Oh, that's great.
Get Conjuring soup at.
And now they get credit for Megan too, right? I mean,
now they've got Megan, which is going to be huge. We're probably going to see a sequel in less than a year.
It's probably something that can whip up.
They're probably
quick, right?
screaming. They're waking people up in bed, and it's like, start writing the script right now, and then book the camera guy right now.
Man, we're
going to be shooting this in we want to be shooting this in a couple weeks.
I hope what I hope it does is it doesn't lose its quality.
Yeah,
for sure. I like you said, it was a really well-made film, and then you laugh, but you also had your suspense in there, and again, you had your underlying story. It was still a solid story.
I don't think though. I feel like I think they've got plenty of potential to step up, because I think Megan, if anything, part 1 is just solid, and they have a lot of room now to expand on the ideas. I'm sure they'll get a little more budget. They know what worked in the first movie. This is how you do IPs now.
Yeah,
you've got to be creative. You've got to be an innovator like Ty West and create your own IP and write the first part and the prequel and pitch it like that.
I'm very optimistic on what Hollywood is doing on the IP front. I know we've talked about this before. I feel like in 2022, as much as I saw a lot of IP films, I saw a lot of great original films that were just based on original ideas that stuck with me more so than even a lot of the IP films. And I still, we're fans of film, so we're going to go see both, but I feel like it's finally being accepted. For a while, Hollywood wanted nothing to do, what's this based on? What book is this based on? What other film is this based on? And now I feel like that's going away. Go back to that Ice Cube Method. Megan was $12 million, and it's already tripled its budget.
Megan was $12 million?
$12 million was their budget. Just take a little bit of a chance. I mean, that's, in the studio sense, that's not that much money. You run the risk of it. That is a low risk, high reward, because especially with a genre flick, you're more than likely going to make that money back at the minimum, break even. But what's going to happen if it's one of those films that you make 10 times its budget? I mean, do you think Megan's going to probably break $100 million?
Possibly. And then, something like that, it gets licensed. It's going to play. You're going to sell it on digital. They're going to make money with that. And I think, what's cool about, studios are always going for the safe bet, and it's like a $200 million bet on an IP.
Exactly.
Or do you want to make 10 Megans?
Yes, exactly. That's a safer bet.
You could create.
I'm no mathematician, but I think that's a safer bet.
I think hopefully people are up for that. I think maybe we've gotten to the point where everything has been made. It's like, remember '89? You couldn't believe, they're making a Batman movie. I know. That's insane. That's the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life. No way they can do that. And now you cut to now, they've made everything. They've made a movie about everything. So hopefully, I think people they'll. I don't know. I hope the Marvel movies continue. Whatever, that's fine. That's one thing. But people got to open up to new movies. You got to go see them. You got to vote with your dollars and say this was good. I bought a ticket.
Yeah.
Or otherwise, they're not going to make more original stuff.
Here's the thing: they can coexist.
Yeah.
You can go see. You and I, especially, are proof that we see both. We find a way to see both. We do vote with our dollars. Yes, I want more of this. I want it to be good. Yes, I also want more of this. And I think Megan could have been a TikTok viral dance craze if it wasn't for Wednesday. There's still.
Well, I think it was over on TikTok, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It just did. Now you just open up TikTok and it's every time it's just a new version of Wednesday. But every time
that's the biggest dance since that Pulp Fiction dance.
It does feel like that, right?
Maybe that's too old a reference.
No. I think that's a great comparison.
That's the biggest dance ever, and yeah.
Oh man, I watch it every time. I still watch. I just go through. There's something. But again, we were fans of her when she was part of X.
Yeah,
and part of Scream. So it is pretty cool.
And it's also, I think it's really huge because it's bringing it. It introduced the Cramps to a lot of young people.
Oh yes.
Who, if you don't know the Cramps, it's like that's like the ultimate spooky music. That's like your Halloween party. That's half the soundtrack.
That's right. Cool. All right, that's a good go home spot. So I think we're good. We can do a spoiler for what we're doing. I don't know if Renato's still on there. I know he's going to appreciate this. I think next week we got to do a breakdown of Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies. Did you even know this was a thing?
Is it a new sequel?
It's a new prequel sequel series that's going to be on Paramount Plus. They got a poster and they got a teaser trailer. And I'm like, I didn't even know this was happening.
Yeah.
I thought Grease was just kind of fell into that point in time that you would have never seen anything about it again.
No, dude, we're in stage 2 of the streaming wars, and now all the smaller upstart streaming companies are taking big swings.
Yeah.
Paramount's good. I like Paramount.
Yeah, Paramount is
I encourage
really
my girlfriend not to cancel her account.
Paramount is definitely one of those. We should do a streaming war.
Dude, Tulsa King is done. You can marathon it. It's you'll probably get through it in 4 hours. It's great.
It would be interesting to go through and do an inventory of all the, have all your streaming services and what you watch on there. And I think Paramount, I probably would say this year I watch more on Paramount.
They got good movies. I watched Top Gun now twice on there.
That's right. So maybe I was going to end it on Vince, but we can't end it on Vince. We don't want to feel dirty. So let's end it on Megan and say you might want to run.